Hello, Answerly viewers. Do you remember Choose Your Own Adventure books? You know, the books where there wasn't just one ending and you read it from start to finish, but where there are lots of endings depending on the decisions that you make as you read. I was personally a really big fan of these types of books when I was younger, but I really only read the Goosebumps variety since I was born in the late 80s. I decided to do a bit of research for you guys though, and found the exact origin of the Choose Your Own Adventure genre. The genre of Choose Your Own Adventure books was originally called game books. They're written in a second-person point of view that allow the reader to be the protagonist, and the choices that they make determine the plot of the book. The genre is based on a concept that was originally thought of by a man named Edward Packard. The idea for the first one that he wrote, called The Adventures of You on Sugarcane Island, originally came to him while he was telling his daughters bedtime stories at night. The stories that he would tell them were about a man named Pete and the adventures that he would have on this island. When Packard began to run out of ideas for things to have Pete do on the island, he started to ask his daughters for suggestions for paths for Pete to take. Then he would make up endings to the stories based on what they said. His daughters were so enthusiastic about this method of storytelling that Packard decided to try to find some way to write it down. After having his first book rejected by 9 different publishing companies from 1970 to 1975, it was finally picked up by Crossroads Press in 1976. They sold about 8,000 copies, which was actually quite a lot for such a small publishing house. Before long, the concept was picked up by Bantam Books. Packard, as well as Ray Montgomery, the co-owner of Crossroads Press, were then hired to write a whole series of Choose Your Own Adventure books. Under Bantam, the series was so successful that they contracted 3 other game book series to be made with different writers. Then 19 other Choose Your Own Adventure series were released through other rival publishing houses. It was at this point that the term interactive fiction was claimed to coin the new phenomenon. The original Choose Your Own Adventure series, written by Packard and Montgomery, was one of the most successful children's book series in the 80s and 90s. Did you personally ever read Choose Your Own Adventures? As a kid and even as an adult, did you like them more or less than regular fiction? I used to fold down the corners of all the pages that had different choices on them, you know, so I could go back and make sure that I read all of the different alternate endings. I didn't want to miss anything. I'm curious if other people read the books that way, or if people would just get to one ending and call it done. Let me know in the comments, and until next time, it's game over.